Welcome to Under the Sun podcast. I'm Ilea.
And I'm Irene. Grab a cup of coffee and your comfiest sweats and join us every Monday as two best friends discuss everything from raising free-range gremlins to business and really everything under the sun.
Let's get started, and thanks for being here.
Welcome to today.
Welcome to today.
I don't know what day it is or what time it is.
Why is that?
We just got back from a week-long vacation
Whoa.
to Gatlinburg.
Who? Oh,
We
not
did
we.
not. Me and my husband and our two children. So if you have any children and have traveled with them, then you know what post-vacation is like. But also on the way back, not on the way back, but the day before we drove back, I got glutened. So I spent the whole drive back puking my guts up. I think we got home at 1 a.m. last night. There's a small possibility I may still puke my guts up. So if you see me run, I'm good.
And that's why gluten allergies are real.
Yes.
I mean, you have
Yes.
full-on celiac, but
Yeah. And I
it's
guess
legit.
that's the difference. Like, you have to, totally my own fault. We went out to eat at a place that you could get a burger and a lettuce wrap. Totally fine. I asked about the fries, and they fry their fries in the same grease as everything battered. And so I got it for the rest of the family. And towards the end of my meal, we had just spent like 10 hours at a water park. I was exhausted. I know better. Gluten is my like number one. Like, you know, pregnancy, your food allergies kind of go away. And everyone's like, oh, are you going to eat bread now that you're pregnant? I was like, nope. That is my, like, the tip top of my, like, no exceptions list is gluten for whatever reason. I actually know exactly the reason. Also, yesterday on the drive home, I started my period. So it was like
there it is.
exhaustion, a week after vacationing and being paranoid that my children were going to get kidnapped at an amusement park, water park, adrenaline going out, and then I had a handful of the kids' fries, and that alone sent me vomiting. I don't even know how many times I puked yesterday. So I know better. It's my own fault. I do not feel sorry for myself, but
That's crazy that just contamination. I do that.
yeah.
Sick. I'm sorry.
And that's where like yes, I'm starting to get intolerant to corn, but you're welcome for my TMI. Like, if I eat corn, it just like makes me not poop for a week, and then I get a headache and a stomach ache, but I'm not going to puke. So sometimes it's like, how bad can this week actually be? But gluten for me is like, I will puke for a couple days.
Have we ever shared on this podcast why gluten is bad?
We haven't. I don't know if you have in prior seasons.
I don't know. So just a real quick synopsis of gluten. You know how bread has always been, it was in the Bible. Bread has been around for a really long time. Well, in the 1950s, there was a famine in India where there was some kind of genetic engineer, I don't know, for seeds, I don't know what they call them, but he modified the original wheat seed to grow faster and more and taller and stronger and all the things. He genetically modified it to help save the people in India, supposedly. That's the story we hear, though. And that they did no research on it at all. Did you know that? I kind of thought they knew what they were getting into, but
I just assumed back then there maybe wasn't enough capability to research well.
Well, they would have had to
There are a
wait.
lot of things that come out where they don't know the long-term effects,
Yep.
and they say it's good for you, but they don't know the long-term effects. But here I am,
Yeah.
50, 60 years later,
Yeah.
vomiting 7, 8 times because I ate 5 French fries. So
Yep. Supposedly, they knew how bad it was going to get like 10 years after because so many people were having such struggle with it that it's now just gotten worse and worse and worse.
yeah.
But now corn is we live in corn country, and I have worked in the agriculture world, and they are heavily modified, heavily sprayed, heavily all the things. And it's no wonder that corn is the next gluten.
Because for those of you that don't know much about gluten or being gluten-free, maybe not most anymore,
It's
but
not
when
all
I
about
started
pretentious people. Like,
Right.
I
Yeah,
used to
it's
think
not
that's what
just-
it was. Like,
yeah.
I'm gluten free. It's like, no, I'll shit the
You
bed.
I would love to. That would be great. Better than not pooping for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, I have like 6 stories just split off in my brain right now. But you used to work at a restaurant. She used to say how annoyed she was that people would come in because she has been around me when I've been puking my guts up for days and days. And they'd come in and they'd throw a fit because they needed to see the gluten-free menu. And then they would order a beer. And it's like, do you know what beer is made out of?
Yeah.
But those are just the people that do it just to say they do it. And then there's the rest of us that either vomit profusely or poop the bed.
Yeah.
But this all kind of ties into what we're talking about today is our health starter pack, because being healthy is, what does that mean? It means a million different things to a million different people, but this is just our like ways. If someone ever comes up to us and says, hey, what can I start doing now? This is kind of our health starter pack. Like, here's what we would tell someone who hasn't even tried to be healthy or didn't know, or, just we're at ground level. What do we do? These are the things, which this segues into mine. One of mine is avoid gluten at least 100% for 30 days. Like, you may not have an allergic reaction like me, where, I puked all day. I ate it the night before last, puked all day yesterday, have barely eaten today, and I can still feel it wanting to move through. So not everyone's going to have that reaction, but everybody will have some sort of inflammatory reaction with gluten, which is anything with flour, barley, rye. Usually oats are lumped in there because a lot of times oats and wheat are farmed in the same places, and all that powder, you know how fine flour is, it gets mixed into the oats. So unless it's a dedicated gluten-free facility, your oats likely have gluten in it, which is why a lot of people don't think to watch out for oat milk. Yeah. A lot of people use the Aldi's oat milk, and Aldi's has a little because I've read it, because I have to be extra cautious, has a little disclaimer on the bottom of theirs that says not made in a gluten-free facility. So because I had a small reaction once having a sip of oat milk from there, and that's when I looked at the label. But corn, I was saying a few years ago, because corn is a huge part of the gluten-free substitute.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, I was also involved in video projects with corn, and I looked at my husband and I was like, hey, I give it a few years before I can't do corn anymore either. And I wasn't trying to will that upon my life. I was watching what they were doing in the field, and you can't do all of that modification to food and not have reactions. I think actually
sucks my soul dry. I remember that.
Right before, I actually didn't used to get called onto those shoots because farmers don't want hair and makeup. They just, I get it. Mm-hmm. Not really my expertise. I wasn't called on those shoots, but one day they needed an extra set of hands. And I don't know if you remember this, but Jacob was like, hey, don't say anything and don't make any faces. And we all know me. I am the last person to say anything or make a face.
It's me that's the problem.
Yeah. And I was like, why do you keep warning me about that? Don't you know who I am? Well, I'm standing in a field holding this thing that you guys can't see. It's called a scrim. I'm holding it up, and the farmer's talking, and he's like, oh yeah, you have this beetle, spray a modifier. You have this, spray a this. You have, see this is this. We sprayed this. And I'm standing in this field of stuff they're spraying. I could feel my soul shrinking in. I was like, oh, this is why he warned me not to make a face. And it was really hard for me not to make a face. But what he specifically said was, if you have this type of beetle, spray this whatever on it. And I kind of checked insecticide on it. And he said, what it does is it causes the intestines of this bug to explode. But don't worry, it doesn't affect humans. And I'm like, it causes one organic biological organism to have its intestines explode, and it's not going to do that to a human. And it was that day I thought, give it a few years, and
lots of people are going to not be able to do corn.
And sure enough, I think the kids are starting to be affected by corn, which is a shame because their favorite snack is Fritos. Why? I don't know. I mean, Fritos are good, but
I used to love Fritos.
Both of those kids, their favorite snack is a Frito. It's like, all right, well, you can eat it for now, but once you start puking as much as I do, we're going to have to cut it out.
Were you at the shoot where the corn was, 12 foot, maybe 11 foot high?
Yeah.
And we had to go to the middle of the field with all of our cameras, and they didn't tell us that it had just been sprayed not that long ago. Were you there for that one?
I don't know if that was the one.
And I had
yes,
scrapes.
That was the one. I was there on that one.
They didn't tell us they had just sprayed it, and so I had walked, and corn, when you walk through it, if you know or did any detasseling or anything, that it scraped me, and I had blisters and boils within that. No wonder glyphosate came up in my blood. Also because of Cheerios and all the things I used to eat, but yeah. It's not good.
No.
And that's why also, that was a big reason why I got out of farming too.
Yeah.
Because there's just certain things your internal map, once you know so much, I can't be a part of it. I have to step back and be I'm going to go snuggle my kid and love her well.
Yeah. And original corn didn't grow. Original corn, if I'm correct, was only 3 or 4 feet
I don't know.
tall. It wasn't until we started tampering with it that it grew that big. But also I've heard
That's
a
a lot of our
people
crops.
say if you go to Italy, and I've heard of a story of someone who it's like a friend of a friend. So I'm like one person removed from them, pretty bad celiac, like can almost be hospitalized if she gets contaminated, went to Italy and had spaghetti and was fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to try it, but I also like don't want to spend my whole vacation puking. But if I wait till the last, it's like a catch-22 because if I wait till the last day and I'm fine, I'm going to be so sad that I didn't eat my
enjoy
way
it.
through Italy.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So, the untampered version of wheat starts with an S. That's right. Some S or a T. I can't remember. It's a certain type of flour that you can still purchase from
Interesting.
Italy.
Okay.
So
I love
in
that
different
they
places.
I know they're very passionate about their pasta, but I love that they've protected it
Yeah.
so well.
Yeah.
And not just let the world mow them over.
Did you know that humans should basically never eat peanuts or peanut butter?
Really?
Because, well, for one thing, I've seen it. They're sprayed a whole bunch for all the things.
Yeah.
The same as corn and wheat.
Yeah.
But the way like it's harvested
Mm-hmm.
and processed, there's like a really toxic mold that grows on it, and then they
geez.
just make it into peanut butter
Yeah.
and do all these things, and it's even the good brands too.
Yeah.
That a lot of the health people are just like, just don't eat it. There's almond butter. There's all these other things that don't mold that way, and the mold that grows is so toxic to humans. It can if you eat enough of it, you're just dead.
Jeez. And a peanut is technically not even a nut. Am I correct? It's technically a legume, technically in the bean family.
Is it? I
Which
didn't know that.
soybean, this is nowhere near any of our notes, so you're
Yeah.
welcome for our soapboxes. But soybean, not only is it a phytoestrogen and will throw your hormones out of whack so fast,
Yeah.
it's actually, if you eat it in its raw form, will poison you. Like you have to soak it basically in a chemical bath just to make it edible or digestible for our systems.
But the thing
So
about
if it's so hard to digest, like shouldn't that be a red flag? You shouldn't eat it.
but they figured out the mass production of it.
Of course.
And ways to make money and
Yes.
feed the world, which I get it. I get it. And I'm
Yeah.
thankful because no, I would rather people kind of have gluten allergies than a whole country
Right.
die, of course. But we should have used it as a Band-Aid to then fix the solution. But anyways,
Yes. Not just market and make money off of people's.
right. Exactly. But soybeans, so if you get the original, like a non-GMO soybean, organically grown, not sprayed, it doesn't have that effect.
Interesting. I thought it was I thought it was the plant itself created a toxin.
I'm almost positive. Don't eat a soybean and then be like, it was Leah. but I'm
also
almost
how
positive.
organic is really, like nowadays you can't find organic non-GMO without it having some kind of contamination from a farmer spraying 5 miles away. So it's almost impossible these days.
That's the problem, though. So, little life update. Hopefully, this is true. We've been looking for a homestead farmland for Dave and I, and supposedly, we found it. Our inspections are this week, so pray that works out. That would be awesome. It's a little 3-acre
That's awesome.
homestead. But as we were looking at places, and he's like, it's surrounded by cornfields, but I'm like, I don't know how to win. Like
That's what I was going to ask you. I forgot to ask you off air. How close is your closest farm?
There's like a pasture, and then there's a cornfield, and then there's not one behind us, but
Good.
and then there's just houses. But there are some around.
Sure.
But as we looked at houses, that's something like we had to consider. Like, okay, this little block of there's a home, and then it's surrounded by cornfields. Like, well, what are they going to do? I don't want my kid playing outside if this stuff is being sprayed, because I know.
I mean, it floats in the air pretty dang far.
Yeah, and it's so thankfully there's not that many close cornfields, and hopefully I can convince people to not spray and just be an organic farmer.
Yes, that would be great.
Make a partner, but
yeah.
Wow, we really went on a rampage
But
before we
it
even
kind of ties in. Basically, avoid gluten. If you're still feeling reactive, avoid corn.
Well, this, I guess that all kind of ties into, this is not in chronological order, but it's
all right.
If we're talking about like easy tips for getting started, because being healthy, or just like prioritizing your body and listening to your body and what it needs, and you shouldn't fall asleep and be exhausted after you eat. You should feel energized or ready to do stuff. But as we were talking about like pesticides and spraying stuff, try, for one thing, when you go grocery shopping, shop off of the Dirty Dozen list. Like, you don't have to buy 100% organic. You can like bananas don't have to be organic because technically if they're sprayed, it's all on the outside and you peel that off anyways.
Yeah.
Does it get in the inside? Probably, yes. But you just do the best you can with what you have. And also try to stick to the perimeter of the grocery store. Like all of the crap, the garbage, everything is on the inside of the store. All the healthy stuff is usually on the outside. But I think Kroger caught on because they freaking remodeled and all their stuff is interspersed. And I'm like, I unsubscribe.
Yeah.
But
trying to trick you. And I can't say that it hasn't gotten me when you've gone to the aisle and it's like, oh, here's the little health aisle. Then you see Oreos out of the corner of your eye. And it's like, no, they have gluten-free Oreos. I'm probably going to get it if I'm PMSing. So can't stick with the outside of the store. I mean, I try to, but man.
Well, it's also, sometimes it's hard because I see like, the Siete chips and I'm like, yum, delicious. But it's like, oh, it's like $6 a bag for like air.
Yeah.
I can eat one bag in a setting.
Yeah.
And Easily. But the other, and they're healthy. They're, there's no like junk ingredients. You can pronounce everything. It's made with avocado oil. Yeah. And then you see like a bag of Lay's and it's like $2. And I'm like, it's like, why does it cost so much to not get murdered? It's so annoying.
Right? I just want to not throw up when I eat nachos.
I just want my kid to not eat a bunch of seed oils. That's all I want. Because I've seen, so like, not to rag on my past career life, but like even with, I would film cotton a lot. And cotton is sprayed a butt ton. I've also replaced all of Dave's underwear because all of them were either polyester or cotton. Yeah. And I'm like, if the cotton is sprayed so much and now it's on your genitals. Yeah. And it's on, like I had cotton underwear too. So like I've slowly replaced our underwear. I'm not done yet, but
man, because they're expensive to get organic clothing. For one, it's not, that's what we need to do. Make a cute clothing line. For one, it's not cute. For two, it's so unbelievably expensive that like the normal person can't replace their whole wardrobe.
But there is a brand. I can't think of it right now. They have a multi-pack of women's just basic underwear. They're not ugly. They're just like, you can, whatever cut you like, know?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They don't have like thongs or anything, but who wants those?
Who has time for that?
No, nobody got time for that. But they have a whole bunch of different designs and it's like an 8-pack for like $60, which isn't, but if you think about Victoria's Secret.
That's true.
It's
like 2 for $15 or something. So
yeah. Is that right? Yeah. So it's
I mean, last time I went, which was like a decade ago, it's probably a lot higher than that now.
I think last time I went, it was like 3 for $45 or something.
I'm going to write that down since I keep forgetting the links. Sorry, everybody. To get that link from you so we can post it.
Yes. Remind me. We're still trying our best, guys. We're still trying our best. But I just ordered those for myself because I care about my husband more and I just got his first. But I'm like, but talking about cotton. Yeah. The cottonseed that they take out and then grind up and made into cottonseed oil and stuff, like that is, if you eat it, like you will just die because it's so toxic. But yet we grind it up and put it in with like mixed other oils that people consume and deep fry stuff in.
Did you see the post? I don't remember if I sent it to you or not, but McDonald's is...
Oh, yeah. I know. The potatoes.
No. They're trying to make it this cool marketing thing like, yeah, just so you know, the recycled oil from that we fry your fries in is fueling fueling your airline. So you may be on a flight fueled by McDonald's recycled
red flag.
Food. And I'm like, if your food can fuel an airline jet, don't eat it. And they're trying to market it as like some cool thing. And everyone's like, yeah, that's great. I'm like, no, that's horrible.
That's a short right there.
I'm going to find it. Because this guy, the guy that I can't remember, it's like the Van Man. I'll link his Instagram too. But he's starting up a small fast food restaurant. And all of his fries, like he's calling it like tallow fries. So everything's just made in tallow. And of course, he's in like somewhere not near
here.
Cornland, USA, where we're at. But
here's the thing:
shared that.
We're
I'll
the
send
sickest.
you that article too.
Like I would say that a lot of our I've met a lot of farmers, a lot of wonderful people, great, honest, good people.
Most of them genuinely want to feed the world.
They do, but they don't know the damage that they're doing to people and to themselves. Because if you look at I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I haven't looked at it in a while. I actually dived into it when I was like waiting for a shoot while someone was spraying, and I was looking up like what do farmers usually die of? You know what it is?
What?
Cancer. They always it's a shocking, it's like 90% of farmers die of cancer. It's like, well,
yeah.
I mean, you're around it all the time. In Idaho, when I was there for a friend's wedding, I saw all these fields and I was like, what is going on here? Because I'd never seen a potato field. And the Uber driver that was taking me to her wedding, I was like, oh yeah, that's a McDonald's field. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, they spray it and all the farmers aren't allowed to go on it for like 24 to 48 hours because it's so toxic, because they don't want any of the imperfections on their potatoes.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, we can't win. We can't win. And so we just try our best not to. We're just trying our best, guys.
Yes. Yeah. And mind you, McDonald's is on our absolutely never list.
Never.
There's not like my kid's throwing a fit, let's get him a Happy Meal.
Well,
for one, don't get your kid a Happy Meal if they're throwing a fit. But also, I have been known to throw Chick-fil-A fries at my kids. But
balance.
They've changed since COVID.
Yeah.
I really since not. I won't even say COVID. I'll say DoorDash. Since like the DoorDashes came out, it just baffles me, like the mentality of people. Because if I order something from DoorDash through Chick-fil-A and I'm literally too lazy to go get it myself, or I'm working and I don't have time, that's fine. I order Chipotle when I'm working, knowing it's going to come in. I'm probably not going to time it right with this highlight, and I'm going to eat it cold in my office. Whatever. I know that. I'm not going to get it. It's not going to be fresh. People were complaining to both DoorDash and the restaurants, like, hey, when I get these fries, they're cold. Yeah, you had someone else go get it for you.
Lazy?
Or they're stale, or they're not as crisp. So sometime I'm going to have to find the research on this. And I only know this because Jacob told me, and my husband does thorough research because he's a nerd and I love him. But all of the food companies switched their food around the time of DoorDash, especially during COVID, kind of boosted it because everyone was ordering out so much. But they started putting stuff in either the food or the cooking oils, I can't remember, that cause it to be fresher longer. So, because I used to not really get a stomachache at Chick-fil-A, and I'd feel better about my decision because it's like, okay, well, you can tell it's actually real potatoes because some of them have like holes in it and spots in it. And then all of a sudden now I get sick, and I couldn't tell if it's like my corn allergy developing a little bit more.
Is your bucket getting fuller?
Is my bucket, like there could be a million reasons that it was happening. And as soon as he told me that, I was like, oh, it's whatever they've modified it with. The body doesn't like. So
they also, I think they added peanut oil to their deep frying stuff. So
I
back
know
to that
they
conversation
do canola.
of they do canola. They've always done canola, but now I know because I used to go through Chick-fil-A a lot, and it said like deep fried in canola oil, and then our location has like a sticker over it that says and peanut oil, and so that pairs in with the whole mold.
Yeah.
But
or the peanut allergies.
Even
if you are a mom and you're exhausted and you just want to get on the road trip home, it's like, just get the kids fries so we can just get home. But if your kid has a peanut allergy, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Did you know this is going to end up being a long one. Did you know about the one ingredient in Chick-fil-A sauce that is deadly?
No. I also don't eat Chick-fil-A sauce though, because there's so many ingredients.
I tried really hard not to let the kids have Chick-fil-A sauce, and their dad introduced them to it, and now they call it Chick-fil-A mustard, which kind of makes me laugh, but it stresses me out. So you read one of yours while I Google it.
Okay. One of mine that is like the number one thing that if anyone asks me like, hey, how do I do this, is water. Like, I know it's so lame and it's so anticlimactic.
Yes.
But we are all dehydrated. And we are drinking crappy water. Oh, I should add, don't drink tap water. That's like
no tap water.
Good spring water or a filtered water that you add minerals back into. Water is, I'll just read my notes real quick. It's the second most vital element. The first one being oxygen, of course. And if you add Celtic sea salt, let me say that again. If you add Celtic sea salt to your water, it helps carry the water to your cells and actually hydrates you. Instead of like you hear people say all of the time, oh, if I drink water, I'll just be in the bathroom all the time, or, I can't do that. And it's like, okay, well, that means you're not getting actually hydrated. You're just peeing it out. And also people like chug water and they're like, oh, here's a water bottle. I'm going to chug it real quick. I'm going to be hydrated for the next 5 hours. That's not really how hydration works. You need to take little sips, like a mouthful.
every hour or so, or however often you feel thirsty. So small drinks. And also you need to drink half your body weight in ounces. So if you're 150 pounds, you need to drink at least 75 ounces of water a day. Now that's my soapbox.
That was on my list too, water, because it is so, so important. And I mean, man, that's a whole other thing. You can't just get pure water anymore, but we don't do purified water. We don't do tap water.
Yeah.
If I'm in a pinch and there's no other water, I'll do purified, but I'm definitely adding salt and some other minerals to it if I have it. So one of the ingredients, I found it in Chick-fil-A sauce, is called EDTA. EDTA can cause abdominal cramps, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, low blood pressure, skin problems, and fever. It is unsafe to use more than 3 grams of EDTA per day or to take it longer than 5 to 7 days. Too much can cause kidney damage, dangerously low calcium levels, and death. To which people will say, well, I only have Chick-fil-A sauce once a month or
How many
once a
grams
week.
does it have in it, though?
How many grams does it have in it? That's also like someone who, my kid who is 28 pounds and my husband who's 200 and whatever, gram for gram, it's going to kill my kid faster than it's going to kill my husband. So you have to take weight.
Did you tell Jake that?
Yeah, he knows. And why is it in our food? Well, it's a preserving agent, but also like it's okay. You eat it once, whatever. But if you're eating Chick-fil-A every day on your lunch break, you're microdosing yourself every day for years. And then later on in life, it's like, well, I don't know why my kidneys are going out, but it's in their Chick-fil-A sauce. And I believe they put it in their chicken, but I'm not 100% sure. So it's like, what? You can't go anywhere these days.
No, that's why we cook about, I would say, on a good week, about 90% of our meals.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes those weeks just get away from you and you realize you haven't eaten and it's 9 o'clock. It's like, well, let's just run a Chick-fil-A real quick. And that's the lesser of the evils.
Yeah.
Truly. Like, compared to McDonald's or,
Yeah.
I don't know, what are Taco Bell, Sonic? Like, those are all on my never, ever, ever list.
Yeah.
Like, even, I would rather stop at a gas station and get, like, a Lara bar.
Yeah. Beef jerky stick.
Beef jerky, something. Rather than, we should take notes on our road trip and
Yeah.
how it goes. Because I told Dave, I was like, we're not going to eat crap. And he's like, oh, it's fine. Leah will be fine. He literally said, he was like, but she needs to try McDonald's fries. And I was like, over my dead body. I was like, no. I
think unless somebody has given them to my kids, they're 2 and 4 and they've never had McDonald's. And if it's up to me, they never will.
Yeah. I have never given them McDonald's. I will never give them McDonald's.
I think that Jacob would respect my wishes on that.
Yeah. Because
he still gets some Chick-fil-A sauce, but like, you can't always be, you know, you can always be like, look at me, I ate a fry and I puked for a day. So
yeah,
you do what you got to do. But just, I guess at the end of the day, especially if you're a busy parent, just do the lesser of 2 evils, because again, the stress of trying to be so healthy can stress you out so much that your bucket fills up too fast. So
yeah.
So if you have to take baby steps, water, try to at least cut out gluten for 30 days. Grocery shop off of the Clean 15 Dirty Dozen list. So I seconded water. Oh, a big one for me is your lipstick, chapstick, and toothpaste, because those are things you don't, well, I'm not eating lipstick, but you are. If you lick your lips, if you drink out of a straw, like anything you're ingesting. Even when I started the journey, I was a little less, honestly, to this day, if I didn't develop another weird allergy to my eyeshadow palette, I was a little more loose with what I used on my eyes, but I was always super careful with what I used on my lips. So like I used to use Bite Beauty for my lip because they were gluten-free, which again, gluten's on my top of my list. So it depends what your list is. Find ingredients on your list that you don't want ingested. Stick with that. So toothpaste, chapstick, lipstick.
Yeah, it's a good one. Again, in no particular order, and it's not super complicated. I think people like to think about like, what's this one thing I can do? What's this like fast track to health? It's like, there is none. It's actually really annoying. It is a lot of everyday decisions, just doing better. Yeah. Like, so one of mine is eat whole foods, including the oils you cook with, which is kind of connects with what we were already talking about, is cook with only coconut oil, olive oil, and sometimes avocado oil, because man,
that talk about adding inflammation on inflammation is when
Yeah.
you eat crappy food while also dipped in types of oil. But if you
Yeah.
eat just whole food, you know, it's not that hard for truly. There's organic broccoli at Costco in a big bag for like $8.
Yeah.
And
Costco
steam
is
that.
a great place
Yeah.
for organic because they're
Bulk.
frozen.
Frozen blueberries,
Frozen blueberries are
strawberries.
like $11.99, but if you go to Kroger, it's like $6.99 for a bag this big. So definitely utilize Costco. Maybe we should make a Costco list in a
Yeah.
little like
We should
Instagram
go to Costco.
reel.
We should go shopping.
We
is
should
what-
go. I'm gonna write this down because we'll both forget.
Yes,
we
we
should
will.
go shopping for this road trip
Yes,
and
we
do a little
should.
mini vlog. Would you guys like to see that? A mini
Yes.
vlog of how we're road tripping? Because I did this last vacation like whatever. I also worked like 60 hours a week before we left, so I was pretty empty when we left. But I wanted to have fun and let the kids be kids. This next trip is a working trip where I need mental faculties
Yeah.
and I need to not have brain fog. So this trip I'm going out a little bit differently. So
Nice. Yeah.
I would do a little mini vlog.
I love that. And it's not as hard as you might think it would be, like a big frozen bag of broccoli, or they have large bags of organic spinach at Costco for like $5. It's not, I mean, it's a huge bag, but sometimes if we're not getting to it quick enough, I'll start blending it in smoothies. I make spinach pancakes for Leo. Freaking loves them.
I need that recipe.
Spinach, applesauce, eggs, water.
All right.
And then you just measure with your heart. Like, that's all it is.
You're one of those people.
Yeah, I am. Are you not? Are you?
No.
You follow to a T?
To a T. Because
Oh.
I'm a terrible cook. And if it's not to a T, then I think I was trying to copy a family recipe of yours for Jake's birthday. And he's like, you can do it. I'm like, no, have one of your sisters make it. Because the recipe was like, mix the flour and the water together. You'll know when it's ready. And I'm like, but I won't.
You will.
I know how to ground beef. That's about all I can do.
So I just saw at where was I at? I was just at Hobby Lobby, and they have like recipe boxes.
Yeah.
Like the 10 boxes
Yeah.
that, like, you know, my grandma always had on the counter, and I didn't remember until I saw it, and I was like, I'm gonna find one that isn't obnoxiously yellow.
Yeah, right.
And get one.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll start writing stuff down.
Yeah.
For you. I
that'd be great.
actually, this is my like nerding out thing I just did. I just went and got a binder, and I'm gonna put picture, like 4x6 picture slots in it,
Yeah.
and alphabetize it, and then put like little note cards in of remedies of things I've tried
love
that
that.
works, because I'm sick of like, like I feel cold coming on, I'm just gonna throw the whole kitchen sink at it,
Yes.
and then I never know what works, and I'm like, I'm just gonna start so that by the time I'm 40 I'll have like a nice book full
Yeah,
of
something you
things
can
that
pass down.
works for me, and then that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But I want it to. But
Well, because for the last time my digestion was great, I think I'd called you and was like, best poop of my life. And then you're like, great, what'd you do? And I'm like, literally don't know, because I did 2,000 things in a 24-hour period. So, and I have since tried, it must have been the combo, which is way too much effort to do, but I've tried each thing at least once and nothing. So I'm like, dang it, I don't have time to throw a kitchen sink at it. But it would have been nice to actually have written down what I did, because I'm sure I'm forgetting to do one of them.
coffee enemas that will make you poop daily. If you did
I'm
one
fine
coffee
with doing an
enema a
enema.
day,
It's just
For
getting
a
my
week.
kids to bed or to go away.
why don't you wake up before them?
Because my son keeps me up till 1 a.m. and my daughter wakes me up at 7.
Can you make him go to bed earlier?
Probably, but his
Do it.
father is also awake till 2. So usually I just kick them both out of the room and go to bed.
Well, just saying, we can get your digestion.
I do want to try that protocol that you sent me, but I'll let you know if it works.
Yeah. Anyways, well, I think it's your turn.
Yes. Another thing, speaking of periods, is to change your feminine care products, which also that's why I'm in sweatpants. Partially because I puked all day yesterday and I'm still kind of pukey, and I started my period all in one lump day. So
We're getting real.
that was fun. So that's why I'm in sweatpants today. But also, that is one of the first things I changed too. Speaking of food.
You guys want food on the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Here's your chicken.
Thank you.
Irene, they
Thank
had
you.
This I had to go to like a lot of trouble to get these for you.
Why? Veggies?
They had to make veggies and had to find it. So
Well,
anyways,
good, because it's not closing time yet.
dig in.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Love you, ladies.
Love you too.
Love you. Yes. Period care. That was one of the first things
Yeah.
I changed, because if it's that absorbent, it's not great for you.
Yeah. And this is a bonus tip, paired off of yours.
Yeah.
Stop using vaginal washes.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
literally go into your bathroom, throw that crap in the garbage,
Yes.
and never look back because
Yes.
it is throwing off your pH. You know what's better served? You're better served going and getting apple cider vinegar and wiping with a napkin with apple cider vinegar on your Vicooter.
And I can tell you, because pregnancy does some strange things to your body. With my second kid, I literally can't remember. With one of the kids, I kept getting something. And it's probably because I was eating too much sugar. But apple cider
Like a
vinegar
UTI?
worked immediately. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a UTI or a yeast infection because I don't really typically have either. It was just like a pregnancy related thing that's not really common for my life. But I thought I heard the door open.
That's what I thought,
That's
too.
just what my husband wants to hear. But also I'm telling the whole world. So whatever. But like apple cider vinegar worked immediately.
Yeah. Or maybe that's an episode we should do is my like UTI protocol. I have a
Yeah.
YouTube video coming out with it, but
That'd be
like
great.
a deeper conversation of
Because I think that my daughter has more of your family's kidney issue sort of things that my family maybe did not. So I'm not really going to have that tool set to help her, which is why it's amazing to have a village that your village knows. And in my village is half of her DNA. But she does, like if she pees, she'll kind of grab herself and she'll say, I got a boo-boo. And she can't determine whether she has pooped or peed. So she usually just grabs herself and says, I pooped. And then it's
How old is
usually
Nova now?
pee. She's 2.
Yeah.
And she'll say, I pooped. And then she'll grab and she'll say, I have a boo-boo. And she'll scratch at it. And I'm like, here's some vinegar, but I don't really know how to help you or why it's happening in the first place.
we can talk about that further if you want.
But yeah. So yes, have a village. I hope that you're as lucky as I am and have a good family village. So then half your child's DNA, you can ask the other half.
Holla. My turn?
Yeah.
This is lame. Not lame. It's actually great. I've actually started to implement this more religiously. And that is sweat every day. I know
That's a good one.
I know it's really annoying. Like if you don't work out, because I know life gets hard. Try 15-minute interval training. Like all you need is 15 minutes total, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Where you run up a hill as hard as you can, like a literal bear is chasing you for 30 seconds, and then rest until you catch your breath, probably around 60 seconds. Do it again for 3, 4, 6 rounds, whatever you can do. Start with 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Get yourself sweating because that is how you can remove toxins from your body without paying for supplements. Because like if we're just saying the basic starter pack,
Yeah.
I would not start with supplements. I mean,
No, I'd start with water and moving your body.
water, nutrients, and moving your body. Because like if you don't have those 3 things, nothing is going to work for you. You're going to go supplement over supplement over supplement,
I'm just going to pee it right back out.
pee it out because your body isn't functioning properly, and you have to give it the basic needs.
Yeah. Which you didn't come from an athletic background, right?
No,
So
I am a potato.
if those of you that are like, I hate working out, we come from different backgrounds because I grew up in a very sports heavy family. So I like thrive. I can tell when I have not worked out or moved my body because I get really crabby. And every once in a while too, my husband's like, maybe you should go on a run. And that's my cue that like, okay, you're acting a little bit psycho. Maybe you need to go run. But so I love when someone's like, let's go do burpees. I'm like, great, I'm in, let's go. But if you didn't grow up with that kind of background, it's still so good to move and sweat. You just have to find the thing that works for you.
Yeah.
That you actually enjoy.
Yeah, because I would argue a little. I've been taking some like online, just educational things about health because I'm just very passionate about it and I want to know it for my family, for my village, because I don't want to take clients by any means, but I want to know how I can help my family in need and share tips with you guys on this podcast. And I thought like, no, I'm moving more than I ever have because for one thing, I'm not sitting at a desk all day. I am chasing a now basically a toddler around who's running, like walking, running, waddling. And I'm going up and down, like trying to, clean up after us. And it's just, I feel like I'm moving more than ever, but I'm still not prioritizing like getting my heart rate up and then just like having that burst of sweat and then recovering and expanding my lungs. And I don't want my lungs to atrophy because that does happen.
Yeah.
So,
Do you track your steps in the day?
I don't know how I would do that.
So as we were on this trip, we went to like the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum and the aquarium and Dollywood. And somehow I was like, the end of these, like my goal on a vacation is to come back from vacation so exhausted that you need a vacation. Because like, why go on vacation and like stare at a TV the whole time when you can?
That's why we vacation so well together.
Yeah. Like we want to hit the ground running. And mind you, I am dead right now, but vacation was wonderful. But at the end of this like hot, sweaty, humid day running around, I was like, yeah, my steps are going to be great. I don't even think I passed 10,000 steps somehow. Have no idea how because we ran all day. But on average, on a work day, I take about 10,000 steps a day. So in my brain, like I'm going to take 15,000 steps a day on vacation and I barely made 10,000. One day I only got like 8,000. I'm like, there's literally no way, which is crazy. So tracking steps is a good way if you have like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch. Because I like to know because I'm very self-competitive. So how many steps did I take yesterday? Let me take one more step today.
Yeah, that's nice. I think everybody's so different on how they achieve. For me, I love the satisfaction of like pushing past the self-doubt. I'm not really great with like, I'm not competitive against people. I'm not competitive against anything. I'm just like, I want to prove myself wrong. Like I've like loved this challenge of, it's actually really difficult it's a lot of work putting together a podcast. And this is now, I don't know when this is coming out. This is our 13th or 14th podcast and in a row, for 13 weeks in a row. And even on days I'm like, I'm exhausted. I don't want to edit this, but I'm like, no, I made a commitment to myself. Brain, stop being a little bitch and let's do this.
Yeah.
And I've just loved doing that. And I think I want to start using that energy towards sweating and working out more. Because I think that's the missing link for me.
Did you know that most podcasts don't make it to 20 episodes? So in that case, we're already in a good high percentage.
Yeah. Well, and we have the episodes from before too. So I think we have 2 seasons of 10. But that's where it stopped because I like round numbers and that's why I like 10. I was like, no, it's just things, we're still growing and learning. I'm trying to find, the traits that we don't want to,
But you have to find what things you like to do. Let me chew this first. Hold on.
Here, I can give you my tip. I'll give you my final one. And I know this is going to be really, really, really hard for some people, but you have to cut out soda. You cannot live, to me, in my mind, you cannot live a healthy lifestyle and thrive and be your best self if you're consuming soda daily. Because the sugar content, so like I just pulled up, in a 12-ounce can of Mountain Dew contains 46 grams of sugar. That's 3 tablespoons of sugar. And that is ridiculous. Like, so sugar cane, the plant, they'll be like, oh, but sugar's a plant. It should be fine.
In moderation.
No, not even in moderation. How it's processed, it's the acidity that they bleach and sell.
Yeah.
It's not the actual cane. Like it's not the actual, I don't know the word for it, but it's not the plant. Like, so like stevia.
Yeah.
It is.
Like you can eat the plant, but not the chemical after waste of the plant.
So it's kind of like salt too. So, table salt is not good for you. It's terrible. So like when they harvest salt, they let it dry out, and the first things that dry out are the sodium carbonate. And then they scrape that off, they bleach it, they pair it with aluminum, they sell it, and that's your Morton table salt. And that's horrible for you. It's literally, it can kill your taste buds. It
clogs your arteries.
It can literally give you dementia because there's aluminum in it.
Yeah.
And
the amount of people that are like kind of dissing on the Himalayan sea salt or the Celtic sea salt, it's like, because salt gives you a heart attack. It's like table salt will cause a heart attack.
Yes.
Your body will tell you. Like my kids love to lick our salt. Like if we're making eggs, and I accidentally bought the bigger crystals, which don't really disperse well in eggs, but whatever. But my kids will pinch it out and they'll just eat it. And when they're done, they're just done. They walk away. So I'm like, go for it.
Mm-hmm. Their body knows.
Yeah.
They'll stop
like,
as soon as...
The salt will get gross to you if you've had too much.
Yeah. But Celtic... Sorry, no. Celtic? Yes, Celtic.
I've heard it both ways. I don't know.
Celtic. We looked it up. So every time Dave was like, think of the... Is it the Celtic Sea... Wait, Celtic Sea...
It's the Celtics.
Celtics. So it's Celtic.
Wait.
It's Celtic.
It is Celtic.
Yeah, it's Celtic,
even
not
though the
Celtic.
basketball team is Celtic.
Yeah. He said it's not the basketball team. So I have to like work that around in my brain. And then I'm like, wait, which one did I say? But they are not the same. Like table salt and Celtic sea salt and Himalayan are not the same.
Yeah.
So I know it gives people bad. I'm like, oh, I get high blood pressure. I already have high blood pressure because of the salt. And it's like, it's not, I mean, it is the salt. It's the table salt.
Yeah.
But not all salt is created equal.
Right.
Like not all water is created equal.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah. But again, that's something you can worry about later. Just bare minimum, just make better decisions.
Just cut out
we read
soda.
a book. I can't think of what it is called right now, but in the book, he says, don't 180 your life because that's not going to last. The goal is just to get 1% better every day. And in this book, there's a really cool graph. And he's like, if you just get 1% better every day, by the end of your life, you're going to be way up here on a graph. But if you try to you're going to yo-yo a lot if you try to do too much at once. So yes, this is a lot of information. You kind of have to pick what is going to work best for you and your family and just make one better decision every day. I think my final one is laundry detergent. I am pretty cautious with what I ingest and what goes over the majority of my body. Hair care is another thing. I have still yet to find, I mean, that is my profession. I've yet to find hair care that is natural that works as good as the not so natural. So I try to make better decisions with that, but it just doesn't perform the same. And the day that I figure out how to make it perform the same is the day that I become rich AF. But until then, I keep both my pads, my laundry detergent, my lipstick, anything that I'm going to directly ingest or wear on majority of my body as clean as I can so that I can use that 10% that's just touching my scalp and my neck a little bit less. But man, you're already fighting the chemicals in your cotton and your clothes. And then on top of that, you're using fabric softeners, which I just saw a funny article the other day that was blaming, I think it was Procter & Gamble maybe, was blaming millennials for not wanting fabric softener. But it's like, also, we don't need fabric softener. Yeah. Like, stop trying to get more money out of us. But I did laugh. And it's like, it was a whole article of a list of things that millennials killed. And it was like, millennials killed the top sheet. Millennials killed the fabric softener. It's like, yeah, because we're tired of being sold all your malarkey. But anyways, that was just a funny side note. What was I saying when I was eating food that I was going to come back to? I forgot.
I don't know.
It's gone. It's gone for good. But I do have something when we were on our trip that I bought you a present, and then my husband wrinkled it when he threw it on the couch when he gave your husband his present. So I thought that would be fitting. Also, I have the same one so we can match.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Wait. Hold on. Wow. Can you see it?
And then the top of the newspaper says today's lies, and I laughed out loud.
Oh, I'm going to wear this a lot. I'm going to wear this in the next podcast.
We went to Black Rifle Coffee Shop in Pigeon Forge, and they had some really cool merch in there. So it's like I laughed out loud, and then I got us both one.
Well, what's funny is she texted us. She was like, I love this place. Like, these are our people, with all the shirts that you saw. And I was like, I'm going to ask her to pick me up some. And I was like, no, Leah, don't bother them. They're trying to relax. They don't need to manage that item while they're. I love it.
Good. I laughed. Of all the shirts, I was like, this has to. We have to.
Well, here's the thing. I think everyone has had a couple, there's two experiences you had over the last 3 years. It's either you followed blindly or you were like, wait, we can't trust everybody. And then you just went down the rabbit hole of oh, okay, I have to figure out what they spray on my food. I have to figure out what EMFs are killing us. I have to figure it out for myself because nobody's coming to rescue me.
Yeah.
No one's going to do it for me. No one's going to protect my family the way I can.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, this is a mixed bag because everyone's anti-capitalism and I'm not. But the higher ups that have all the money, they only care about money. In what way they will take any scenario possible and think, how can I make money off of people? And they're going to make it happen. So even if it's someone who maybe the company got started by the good of someone's soul, maybe the guy that switched wheat all those years ago really, really just wanted people to not die. And that's a beautiful thing. But somebody came in and flipped it around and made a profit off of it. And now we're all getting sick from wheat. So you just have to trust no one and research and protect your family as much as you can.
I'm not sure what Norman Borlaug was. I think he was some type of chemical engineer, something. So when a engineer works for, say, a huge manufacturing company, and they make a design of a new tractor, a new, planting thing, whatever, they don't own the rights to it. The company owns it. They're just paid their salary.
I believe it's even if you say you work at a tractor company and you're an engineer and you make a tractor part. Okay, that makes sense. But I believe it's even if you make a new microphone.
Yeah. Even if you make
that
something
belongs
from
to them. Everything belongs to them.
It all belongs to them. So I wonder, like, he probably designed it, probably got no additional, like, hey, you saved a whole country. Here is, here's a bonus, whatever. Probably they just took it and was like, oh, thanks for that. We're going to go sell it to the rest of the world so that we can make more money faster.
Yeah.
So anyways, all of this to say, I know this was maybe a little bit more, we wanted to keep it simple.
I know, but if you start with nothing else, drink half your body weight in water.
Yeah.
Throw a pinch of Celtic or Celtic. We've heard it both ways. Sea salt in it.
Yeah.
I would literally just start there because 99% of the people are not having enough water.
And at least have 2 handfuls of greens a day. And you can make it delicious. I promise. It's super easy. It's not as hard as you think. You know how like your brain builds up stuff and it's like, oh, I can't make my own laundry detergent. That would take forever. I timed it day before yesterday. It took me 4 minutes to make it. You don't have 4 minutes to make.
Yeah.
Like,
that's awesome.
I made you laundry detergent, by the way.
Oh,
need to give it to you.
thanks. Yay.
But
I should not be eating Chipotle after a day of vomiting.
you're going to vomit it up?
I don't think so, but my stomach does not feel super great. So,
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks, you guys, for listening. Please let us know if there's any topics, anything you would like us to talk about. We did post a poll on Instagram. We're going to cover some of those topics, which is great.
If you have any questions on like any other things that you want, or even pertaining to health, I know like my sister texts me. She just got her own apartment, and so she's been texting me like, what do you use for this and what do you use for your pans? So again, you don't have to change everything at once. Just make a little bit better decisions as you can.
Yeah. Yep. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
You didn't do peace out. I'm very impressed.
I'm such a loser.
Thanks for being with us today. Follow us on Instagram at @underthesun_podcast. We'd love to meet you.
Please help us out by subscribing on YouTube and leaving a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time. Please remember this information is made available to you for informational and educational purposes only. It is in no way a substitute for medical advice.